Hey guys, what's up? I am doing a recap that I'm super excited about. It's a new TV show on CBS. It's called Evil, and I have some very high hopes for this show. It started off right away, hit the ground running. It's really, really good. The first episode, the pilot episode, is very fast paced. I like the characters, I like the story, and I really like the premise and formula that they put together for this show. They've really set it up to do some really cool stuff. Without further ado, I'm just going to jump into a recap. I'm not going to go through and do a play-by-play on every single thing that happens because a lot happens. They throw a lot of information at us right away, and you really have to pay attention closely. This isn't a show that you could watch halfway on your computer and be watching while you're texting. You really got to pay attention. It opens with a serial killer, a man that has killed a whole bunch of people recently. Forensic psychologist, who is our leading lady on this show, Kristen Bouchard, is the character, and she is working for the Queen's DA's office as a forensic psychologist. So she's in the jail cell with him, doing a psychological evaluation. Our killer, Orson, has committed some vile, disgusting, detestable, heinous crimes recently, and he's gone on quite a killing spree. And right away, it flashes to some pretty graphic images. Two of his victims, Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert, they actually showed a quick flash cutaway to his throat being slashed. Orson seems to be taking a liking and interest in Kristen Bouchard. He doesn't remember stabbing anyone. In fact, he doesn't remember committing any of these crimes. He claims that he blacked out. He stabbed Mrs. Bentley 8 times and then raped her. We did get a quick little cutaway to that, which I'll spare you, which is kind of disturbing. He's smiling while looking at his victims, so this is not good. We do get some more flash cutaways, and he claims that he blacked out. Orson agrees to take this psychological evaluation test, which is 500 plus questions about his bowels and diarrhea and whether or not he enjoyed being a librarian. But then she gets to a question that seems to trigger him. And that question is, do you enjoy hearing a woman scream? He goes from smiling to seriousness, and we have some suspenseful music very, very quickly. So the DA is basically calling her to back up that this man did not black out, that this man knew very well what he was doing. The reason why they want Kristen to testify, obviously, is because they do want to lock this guy up and put him away for the murders and crimes that he committed. And honestly, the defense pretty much calls her out on this because, honestly, she is there to testify for the prosecution and put these bad guys behind bars, which she seems to be doing really well. Now, while the defense is questioning her, we see a gentleman enter. We later learn who this gentleman is. This is our leading man in the show. I really like him. We'll get into that in a second. Then the defense asks Kristen if she believes their client is possessed by a demon. The defense claims they have a character witness that claims their client has taken on the demonic presence of some demon named Roy. Now, this is obviously news to her. And our two leads meet David Acosta, meet Kristen Bouchard. He offers her a cross and says, please take this with you when you go in to see the defendant. There are a lot of interesting elements that they're putting in this show already, and we're only just a few minutes in, which is really cool because we've seen cutaways to some very gruesome murders. We have demonic possession. We have some type of bureaucracy going on with the DA's office. There's a lot of really cool dynamics going on right now. He offers her a cross. He also asks her as she's walking away if she knows the Lord's Prayer. So then we're taken back to the jail cell. He denies believing that he was possessed by anything or has any type of demonic possession that provoked him to commit these crimes. Maybe just to feel around a little bit to see what the heck. Kristen draws the sign of a cross. It actually looks like an X, but she draws the cross in the very dusty interrogation table just to see what he does. He asks what the cross means to him. She then sits down and begins to recite the Lord's Prayer, which triggers quite a bit of a jump scare. I'm just going to play that for you guys real quick just to give you guys an idea. Hopefully CBS doesn't kill me and copyright strike my channel for it. We'll see what happens.
Oh, that was a huge jump scare. Ah, holy crap. Okay.
That escalated super quickly, okay? Holy crap. Yikes, that's crazy. This is intense, man. This is intense, and this is just in the opening teaser. Don't say the Lord's Prayer around this dude, because that's what happened. After this violent and jarring outburst, she decides that she cannot support the notion that he is psychologically sound, because that's not something normal people do. She doesn't believe he's possessed, but she thinks that maybe potentially there are some hallucinations and other type of mental health issues. Of course, this doesn't go over very well with the DA's office because they want to convict this guy. They want a trial and conviction, and any type of delay in this is not working for them, and they're the ones paying her, and they're the ones sending her and writing her the checks. Obviously, they have an agenda with her, and they want her to follow their agenda, which is putting these guys behind bars. They want convictions, and if she's not willing to play ball, they don't want to keep paying her to do so. But if that's the case, I think Kristen is pretty much done, because she does not want to lie when she thinks that maybe a defendant is not psychologically well. Now, Kristen, we learn right away, has got a pair of balls on her, because right in front of the judge, she tells the DA that she is not going to lie for him. Damn, mic drop, girl. I like this character right away. This character is great. So who is this character? This character that has quite a big pair of balls. She lives in Queens, and she has 4 daughters. She has 4 daughters. I know exactly where this is. This is in Astoria, and this is right on 21st Street, right where the Amtrak train, I think, comes from the river. When I first moved to New York, I lived in this neighborhood, so there's a little bit of nostalgia in it for me. Yeah, so 4 daughters. That is a handful. Wow. Oh, and now we learn about the husband. The husband is a, I guess, professional mountain climber. Kristen's mom is not too thrilled with husband Andy and his checks that he's sending for only $900 a month. Someone is screaming because the train is going by. I can't imagine living right under that train. So they're having cake outside in the winter. I don't know why, but okay. Loan collectors, bill collectors. She has some financial struggles here, as anyone would at this point, actually. Conveniently, there's someone at the door. Word has gotten around that the prosecution won't be using her as a witness anymore. Oh, we learned that Kristen also was climbing mountains before, but she doesn't do that anymore because she's a responsible adult and she has children. He officially introduces himself. His name is David Acosta, and he works for the Catholic Church. And he's basically assigned to investigate unexplained phenomenons like demons, possessions. Since Orson doesn't really want to talk to them, they want to hire her because he seems to like her. Basically, David Acosta needs someone to ground him, help him determine what is insanity and what is some type of other spiritual force. And Kristen's game, because even though she's not a believer, they're offering to pay her and she needs a job. How much you paying me? Which is great, and then it goes right into the intro. So Kristen, David, and his partner Ben go to talk to Mrs. LaRue. This is Orson's wife. The wife claims that her husband, Orson, was making weird noises that sound kind of demonic. Now, in my opinion, when she plays them back, they sound like a little tiny troll farting or something like that. Well, that's an interesting look. I think he actually has a troll and that troll farted. I mean, that's what I would look like if I had a troll and it farted. David's partner, Ben, isn't really a believer either. He's kind of a skeptic. He believes, though, if it pays the rent. David just wants Kristen's honest opinion of what she thinks is going on here. He wants her to debunk this. I'm just gonna say it, man. He wants his own little personal Scully. Obviously, David is a believer. He doesn't believe that science can answer every single question. Krista believes in miracles, but scientific miracles. But ghosts, demons, and this thing that I think sounds like a troll fart, she doesn't think that's enough to say this man is possessed by a demon. David believes that science is only good for repeatable phenomenon, and the most interesting parts of life don't repeat. This is a really good dynamic we have here, these two characters and actors. So I really like this formula. I think the writers are very smart in setting it up this way. Now, Kristen actually brings up a really good point. Orson actually had a fall that put him in a hospital. And brain injuries can result in erratic and potentially violent behavior. Back at the house, Kristen is Googling types of seizures and how they apply to demonic possession. That changes, she loses focus and decides to Google her new friend and coworker, David Acosta. And she finds some YouTube videos of him spending time in Afghanistan, complaining about the Pakistani food. While she's Googling, she's in her house by herself, and she hears some noises. What sounds like wind to me. When you're by yourself and you're thinking about this type of creepy shit, everything starts to sound like a ghost. Got a little scary here. I thought there was going to be a jump scare. However, at night, in your dreams, that is something your consciousness can't really control when your subconscious is thinking about these things. Someone's behind the door. Oh no, he's not behind the door. He's behind a lamppost. What is that? Oh no. He tells her that her eyes are open and it's a weird way to dream, and he knows her name. He pees on her floor in the corner. How rude. What do demons even drink? Why does a demon even have to pee in the first place? Yep, he's peeing in her corner. So this demon introduces himself. His name is George. Oh, he asks her if she's wearing any underwear. Is she wearing underwear for her new boss, David? She's stuck there and he's like down there going, you have a demon going down on you. I'm sorry, this is completely inappropriate. Oh, she is screaming. That's not good. She screams and her kids come running in the door. She had a bad dream, right? Oh, well, we don't know. Is there still pee in the corner? Oh no, it's just raining outside. So that was no demon urine. That was just rain leaking in. Cut to the next scene. The forensic psychologist is actually seeing a psychologist because she wants to talk about her night terrors. So she tells them all about what happens, her dream, demon, George. She's never had this night terror before. And she describes George as a shadow figure. Now, as someone that has read quite a bit of Reddit paranormal stuff, shadow figures are very common. A lot of people see them in the peripheral vision. Okay, you do not usually see them straight on. They usually only appear in your peripherals, although occasionally you will see them straight on, but only for a split second. And they don't talk to you, and they definitely do not pee in the corner of your room. So this is not a shadow figure. I think she's in complete denial. It's a nightmare, yes, but definitely not a shadow figure. Not only did he look at her cesarean scar, he took her underwear off. The doctor says it's pretty normal to have these night terrors, and he prescribes her some diazepam to help her sleep. And what we have here is Ben debunking and giving a logical scientific explanation for what I call the troll fart. Now they're calling this a demon whisper, but I still say it's a troll fart. The dishwasher made that weird demon fart noise, and he's actually able to recreate that weird fart noise. Ben is definitely a skeptic and believes that there is a logical explanation for everything. David is a believer, and we learn that David is in a program to become a priest. Kristen and David go back to question Orson. When David mentions Roy, which is the name of the demon, the defense claims speaks through him. Orson says, never heard of him. Kristen has Orson write out the alphabet till he gets to the 14th letter. Now this is a test to see if there's some type of inflammation or damage in his brain from when he had the accident. These two are definitely not flirting with each other because they both Googled each other when they went home after they had their discussion the other night. Is George going to come back, I wonder? Well, that remains to be seen. Now, she did something really smart. She actually wrote, "Can you read this?" And she put that paper on the ceiling because in dreams, you cannot read things. Apparently, you cannot read text. Your brain doesn't have whatever it is to determine what is on a paper. And that explains a lot because in my nightmares, whenever I try to make a phone call, I can't find the numbers on the phone. And behind the door is George going to come back, our little demon buddy. Oh, George is back. Great. Yikes, this is a little bit skeevy. Skeevy demon. Now it is time for George to give her the quiz, the 500 questions. No answers are incorrect. However, if you do get them wrong, he will cut off your finger. Ow! This is not good. Now, Kristen tries to rationalize this, saying this is all in her thoughts, this is all in her head, and she's doing this, not an actual demon. Ah! Okay, she's... You don't want to lose your finger. Oh, and he's licking up the blood. He licks up the blood. Ew. Oh, and true or false, was she flirting with David Acosta, even though she's married? Oh, she answers false, but we know that's not true. Oh, for that, she loses a finger. No, I had to look away for this part. He's gonna cut another one off. No! Turns out that she's attracted. True or false, is she attracted to Acosta? And yes, she is. Now, interesting thing, the camera pans up and she cannot read what she had written on the ceiling, and that means that she's asleep and this is a dream. And so, it's a dream and George doesn't exist. He only exists in her head. Look at that. Now that she's awake, she can read it. Oh man, George, I'm gonna miss him. Kristen and David go back to see Orson one more time. He's not too keen on doing any more tests. So then he starts muttering stuff off in Latin. He says 60 other than yourself in Latin. And Kristen knows one of them, that she doesn't believe in demons, but they believe in her, especially the one last night. Oh, how would he know about that? He knows all about George. And of course, David is learning about George, so this is kind of embarrassing information considering what he did in the bed. So David has to know about George, and he's about to learn. Oh, she's scared. Like, how would he know? Oh, so she goes running out of the room. I don't blame her for running out. I would have run out too, and at least she's not dreaming right now, so she's not paralyzed. Orson tells Kristen that he's going to visit her again tonight and every single night, and then he says something in Latin. So Kristen doesn't know what to think about all this. She's a skeptic. How can this possibly be? Kristen tells David that George was this shadow figure, and she asks him what Orson said in Latin. What he said in Latin before was that George would slash the throats of her daughters. Well, this is terrifying. But then Kristen has an aha moment. See, she actually did tell someone about all of these visits, well, at least one of them, from the demon George, and that was her psychiatrist, remember? The psychiatrist says none of this came from him. He didn't disclose any information about their session. When they check the filing cabinets for the notes that he took down for their session, her notes are gone, and not just notes from that session, all of her notes. So someone has all of her files of things that they discussed in their therapy sessions. So at this point, Kristen is on a mission to find out who the heck took her file. She tracks down who visited Orson by looking at the papers to see who signed in, and she finds a name on that paper. L. Towson. Who is this? Oh, and she goes in the courtroom and, well, it's Michael Emerson. I get a feeling that he is L. Towson. So he is testifying that a demon named Roy committed the murder. Oh, she is pissed. She's not happy. It's a criminal violation to take someone's medical file. Turns out Towson did drop by the office because he wanted to see the psychiatrist, but he left really quickly because he went in and he stole Kristen's file. Oh, she is ready to pop him. When Kristen asked Mr. Towson why he gave her psychology notes to a serial killer, he gives her a very evil smile. And then we get a close-up. That's a really, really close close-up, but he tells her that she's in way over her head. He tells her that she should leave this to the professional. The professionals being David, Orson, and again, he mentions the 60 again. Who are the 60? Apparently the 60 are people who know who she is and have access to all of her medical and therapy sessions. And he has read all of her therapy notes and he completely and totally antagonizes her. Now, these sessions obviously contain very confidential and sensitive information that are not meant for others to hear, and he goes ahead and spouts out something she said in one of her sessions that hits kind of low. It's rather humiliating and degrading, in my opinion. He mentions something about she wanting her daughters out of her life so that she can have her freedom, and there's a reason why therapy sessions are confidential. But he taunts her with this, and it's really chilling and disgusting and disturbing, and he's very menacing. This starts to escalate super quick. He says, just say the word poof and there'll be 4 little caskets and they'll be out of your lives. Oh my God, what a terrible thing to say to a complete and total stranger. This guy is just evil. Oh, and he does not like David either. David seems to know this sinister gentleman, Mr. Towson, and says he has no power here because she's not a believer. Well, that's not a problem, apparently. He mentions something about a woman named Julia crying on her knees. We don't know what that is. We don't know this history, but there is something that triggers David to punch him. There's something wrong with someone who laughs after they get punched in the gut hard. Like, he just laughs. Michael Emerson is such a good bad guy. This is played so impeccably by him. Later on, Kristen asks David, who is Julia? All he tells her is that she is a friend. When Kristen asks David who this Towson guy is, he explains that there are people in this world that function as everyday people. They pretend to be normal. On the surface, they might even appear normal, but they are indeed evil, and they wish to wreak havoc on the world, and they're connected now, and they connect with each other through social media. David claims that Towson is a psychopath. He feels better about himself when he gets others to do the evil things that he wishes to carry out as well, which means there's a possibility that he influenced Orson. The only question is, how did Towson connect with Orson? It turns out that Towson was connecting to Orson through his wife's emails and encouraging to do these killings. Oh, they have cracked this case. This is really, really exciting at this point. He has to do the 500 question test again. True or false? I used my wife's email account to avoid detection. Uh-oh, this doesn't go over very well. Oh, he's not happy that they know the truth. He's not happy at all. So Leland Towson found him on 4chan, which is a very dangerous place for harboring hate on the internet. Orson connected with him on 4chan and encouraged him to carry out these horrible, heinous acts. Orson, of course, denies all of this. Kristen really rubs it in that she has got him now and that he's going to pay for all those crimes that he committed, and he was trying to use demonic possession as a way to cover up for the heinous act that he committed. Oh, he doesn't like her so much anymore. He calls her a bitch, and she has one of the best lines ever.
You're a bitch. Oh boy, do you have that right. Boom! Oh my god, that is great. That is a perfect line.
She goes back to the DA. She gives him the pictures that Towson had sent Orson to encourage him to kill people. Of course, the DA has to rub it in that he was right and she was wrong. She's like, whatever. Oh, and look what they have here. They have their next assignment. The biggest question, is Kristen going to be joining them on this next case? And she could have a look, sure. And there you go. And that's the end of the episode. That is just great. I have to say, I love the pace of it. It's very fast paced. They jump right in from the beginning, right from the get-go. You have some really good characters. There's a whole lot going on. And this is just a great formula for a show that I look forward to seeing more of. So I hope to do some more of these recaps. If you like this video, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because if you don't hit the notification bell, you probably won't get notified when I put up my next recap. Follow me on Twitter at LauriceF if you like this. Thank you guys for joining me for this, and I look forward to watching the next one and seeing what's up with this show. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.